Richard Channing Garfield is an American game designer. Garfield created Magic: The Gathering, which is considered to be the first modern collectible card game. Magic debuted in 1993, and its success spawned many imitations. Garfield oversaw the successful growth of Magic and followed it with other game designs. Garfield also designed the CCGs Netrunner, BattleTech, Vampire, The Eternal Struggle, Star Wars trading card game, the card game The Great Dalmuti, and the board game RoboRally. He also created a variation of the game Hearts called Complex Hearts. Garfield first became passionate about games when he played the role-playing game Dungeons & Dragons, so he designed Magic decks to be customizable like role-playing characters. Garfield and Magic are in the Adventure Gaming Hall of Fame. Early life and family: Garfield was born in Philadelphia, and spent his childhood in many locations throughout the world as a result of his father's work in architecture. His family eventually settled in Oregon when he was 12. Garfield is the great-great-grandson of U.S. President James A. Garfield, and his great-uncle invented the paperclip. He's also the nephew of Faye Jones, who, already an established artist, illustrated one Magic card for him. While always having an interest in puzzles and games, his passion for games began when he was introduced to Dungeons & Dragons. Garfield designed his first game when he was 13. Education and career: in 1985, he received a Bachelor of Science degree in computer mathematics. He joined Bell Laboratories, then decided to continue his education and attended the University of Pennsylvania, and studied combinatorial mathematics. While searching for a publisher for RoboRally, which he designed in 1985, Wizards of the Coast began talking to Garfield through Mike Davis, but the game looked too expensive for a new company like Wizards to produce. Peter Adkisson of Wizards of the Coast expressed interest in a fast-playing game with minimal equipment, something that would be popular at a game convention. Adkisson asked Garfield to develop a game that was cheaper to produce than RoboRally, that might be more portable and even easy to carry around to conventions. Garfield did have an idea about combining baseball cards with a card game and began turning that rough idea into a complete game over the next week. Garfield built on older prototypes of games that dated back to at least 1982, when he had created a Cosmic Encounter-inspired card game called Five Magics. Garfield thus combined ideas from two previous games to invent the first trading card game, Magic: The Gathering. At first, Garfield and Adkisson called the game Maniclash, and worked on the game during Palladium's lawsuit against Wizards, protecting the game's IP under a shell company called Garfield Games. Garfield began designing Magic as a Penn graduate student. A group of Platesters, comprising mostly fellow Penn students, formed around the developing game. Garfield studied under Herbert Wolf and earned a Ph.D. in combinatorial mathematics from Penn in 1993. His thesis was the distribution of the binomial coefficients modulo p. He became a professor of mathematics at Whitman College in Walla Walla, Washington. Magic: The Gathering launched in 1993. Platesters began independently developing expansion packs, which were then passed to Garfield to edit. Garfield left academia to join Wizards of the Coast as a full-time game designer in June 1994. Garfield managed the hit game wisely, balancing player experience with business needs and allowing other designers to contribute creatively to the game. With his direction, Wizards established a robust tournament system for Magic, something that was new to hobby gaming. Wizards finally published Garfield's RoboRally in 1994. Wizards published Garfield's Vampire: The Masquerade-based CCG in 1994, but changed the name to Vampire: The Eternal Struggle in 1995 to avoid offending Muslims. Netrunner was Garfield's CCG based on Cyberpunk 2020, where he included an element that made it an entirely asymmetrical game, with the two players having different cards, abilities, and goals. Wizards published the BattleTech collectible card game, based on Garfield's design. Peter Adkisson was developing a Dungeons & Dragons MMORPG based on a design from Garfield and Scarfilius, but left Wizards in December 2000 after Hasbro sold the D&D computer rights and cancelled the project. In 1999, Garfield was inducted into the Adventure Gaming Hall of Fame, as was Magic. He was a primary play tester for the Dungeons & Dragons 3rd edition bookset, released by Wizards in 2000. He eventually left Wizards to become an independent game designer. He still sporadically contributes to Magic: The Gathering. More recently, he has created the board games Pecking Order and Rocktville. The latter was published by Avalon Hill, a subsidiary of Wizards of the Coast. He has shifted more of his attention to video games, having worked on the design and development of Schizoid and Spectromancer. He has been a game designer and consultant for companies including Electronic Arts and Microsoft. Garfield teaches a class titled The Characteristics of Games at the University of Washington. Games designed: a partial list of games designed by Garfield: Magic: The Gathering, collectible card game, and likely the most known and played game Garfield has created, RoboRally, board game, Vampire: The Eternal Struggle, collectible card game, The Great Dalmuti, card game, Netrunner, collectible card game, BattleTech, collectible card game, Dilbert, corporate shuffle, card game, Filthy Rich, board game, Twitch, card game, Star Wars trading card game, collectible card game, Pecking Order, board game, Rocktville, board game, Stonehenge, board game anthology, Spectromancer, online card game, Schizoid, console action game, Card Combat, IO's game, King of Tokyo, board game, Soul Forge, online digital card game, Android, Netrunner, living card game, West card game, King of New York, board game, Treasure Hunter, board game. References: Magic: The Gathering Fact Sheet. Wizards of the Coast. 2009. Retrieved June 10, 2013. ABC Varney, Alan. Richard Garfield. The Escapist. July 10, 2007. Retrieved June 27, 2013. Complex Hearts. math.uni.edu. Retrieved June 23, 2013. ABCDEFG Vazel, Tom. Interviews by an Optimist No. 49, Richard Garfield. ABC Garfield, Richard. The Creation of Magic: The Gathering. Wizards of the Coast. Retrieved June 22, 2013. AB List of Winners, Origins Game Fair. Retrieved June 22, 2013. Dragon Magazine, December 1998. Mark Rosewater, Blogatog, Stasis, Zurcher, Christopher. Just Like Magic. Poke Online. Archived from the original on February 16, 2012. ABCDEFGHI Shannon Apple Klein. Designers and Dragons. Mongoose Publishing. ISBN 978-1-907702-58-7. A.B. Elias, Scarf. Legendary Difficulties. Latest developments. Garfield's Thesis, ABC Garfield, Richard. Dungeons & Dragons. Inloader, James. Hobby Games, The 100 Best. Green Ronin Publishing pages 86-89. ISBN 978-1-932442-96-0. Rosewater, Mark. City Planning, Part 1. Making Magic. Retrieved April 27, 2007. Rosewater, Mark. Innistrad, Part 1. Making Magic. Retrieved December 16, 2011. Pecking Order. Board Game Geek. Retrieved May 6, 2007. Avalon Hill welcomes back Richard Garfield. Rocktville set to blast off on March 10. February 7, 2006. External links: Richard Garfield at Board Game Geek, Richard Garfield at the Mathematics Genealogy Project, Far 1/4 Arain Arborus Chungut, Richard Garfield, Der Man hinter Magic. Amigo Spell. January 30, 2004.